Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. And as always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Hey, does anybody remember the movie Lean on Me? It came out in the 80s, and it was about a high school principal by the name of Joe Clark. He was played by God himself, Morgan Freeman. And again, he was a former teacher turned principal, asked to be the principal at this the school that was, I guess, was in trouble. You see the movie, they over glorify like it's spray painting inside the building, girls fighting, stripping clothes off of each other in the building, dudes in suits and briefcases, selling drugs the back door, bringing keys into the school, stuff like that. As a kid, it made me never, ever want to go to a school in New York ever in my life. Matter of fact, it made me not even want to go to high school, period. Because I'm like, damn, is this how high school is? Where, people getting beat up, head getting bashed into the back of their head, head getting bashed in, on the cafeteria ground because they want some fries or something. But anyway, yeah, like I said, made me not even want to go to school back then. But the movie was about, like I say, principal named Joe Clark. Once he became principal, they brought him in to clean up the school and make it better because he was a great teacher. But he got fired because he didn't want to go with the status quo or something, so he left. Or he didn't really get fired, he quit. Come back, be a principal. And one of the key scenes, a couple of the key scenes is he round up all the kids that have been in the high school over 5 years and ain't, haven't graduated when they should have, probably still in the ninth grade, or to have he causing trouble and bringing the school down. So brought them all to the auditorium and said his little speech and told them they're all free to go. And the police came, security came and kicked everybody. Everybody was sitting that was in the auditorium and what have you, that was standing on stage. They escorted all of them out. Later on, there's one little old chubby kid, forgot his name. I know he was in Juice, but I forgot his name. But anyway, he comes back and he asks, Mr. Clark, could he come back to school? Sam's was his name, character name. So Joe Clark takes him up to the rooftop and told him to jump. And dude like, nah, I don't want to jump. He said, go ahead. He said, you smoke crack, don't you? Boy, don't you smoke crack? And Sam was sitting there crying, said, yes, sir. He said, okay, you slowly killing yourself. You're killing your brain cells, son. So you're already killing yourself. So go ahead. Why you prolonging the inevitable? Just go ahead and jump. So dude was like, crying, saying he don't want to do it. And then Joe Clark felt sorry for him and brought him back to school. And the boy did better and stuff like that. Learned the school song, helped change the name, learn the school song, helped change the rhythm, whatever. And the rest is history. I bring that up because I come from an age where a lot of times when you try to teach a lesson to kids, being a certain way, try to be the nice, sensitive type, try to hear them out, talk to them, let them respond and be, all that stuff, it doesn't work. So then you go from one extreme to another and you try to come up with unorthodox ways to get through to kids. And sometimes it's just not understood why a person would do that. And it may be, like I say, it may not be the thing to do. Hindsight is 20/20. Maybe he shouldn't have done it. But let's just say if Joe Clark would have told that dude to jump and that dumbass boy would have jumped, then who'd have been like, uh-oh, my bad. But in this instance, he told him, kind of gave him, scenario, kind of compared it to what he's doing to something, and it supposedly made the boy like, to prove to him that the boy, is like, okay, I understand. Okay, Mr. Clark, I'm gonna do it your way. I'm gonna get off the drugs. and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it your way. Go back to school, learn, stuff like that. Just a young boy hang around the wrong crowd because it's cool, but you really not built like that. You know what I'm saying? So again, like I said, you come with unorthodox ways to try to teach a kid, try to get through the kids, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. Which brings me to this story. There's a CPS worker who was fired a couple of days ago because she told a 14-year-old girl to go out there and walk their stroll. Now, this story comes from KXAN. It's an Austin news site. And the title says, CPS fires Texas employee after encouraging teen to try sex work for money. Now, let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to break it down like we normally do. Oh, if you understood where I was going with the Joe Clark story, if you understand where I'm going with that, go ahead and hit that like, go ahead and hit that follow, and go ahead and share this video because it's going to be people that is going to need to hear this. So, out of Houston, a Texas CPS worker in Houston was fired recently after encouraging a 14-year-old girl to try prostitution, which she caught on video. Now, my question is, why the girl was recording? Why the girl didn't have a phone on to record? My guess is this is kind of like a police wiretap. This is like I believe like this conversation probably already happened, or a conversation like this already happened, and a CPS worker told her something like this, or somebody had to have said, the CPS worker said something like this. So this girl, who's probably street savvy, and you're gonna see why in a minute, said, let me bait her in the same way. Let me bait her into a conversation and see if she'll say what I think she'll say. So get her in trouble. Again, street savvy child. Get her in trouble. Get me out of the CPS. Get me back home, or whatever the case may be. This is how I'm going to fix the situation. But here we go. So quote, the woman said, quote, the right man, he'll be broke effing with me, end quote. A CPS worker in Houston was caught saying on the video to a teen in their custody. The young girl in CPS custody was staying in a hotel, according to her mother, Keisha Basley. During the teen's recording of the employee, you can hear her ask the worker for some food. It said, "Can you get me something to eat, please?" quote unquote, the teen asked. He said, there ain't no food in there, the employee responded. Then the CPS worker told her the following: "That's how my mama taught me. You want to be a hoe, be a real hoe. He'll feed you, and how much money you got in your pocket. Yeah, that's how you hoe," end quote. She appeared to be encouraging the girl to consider sex work. Okay, so like I say, this is gonna be a twisted way of looking at it. I know, but again, maybe she really was not encouraging her to get out there on that stroll. Because my question is, did she go out there and hook her up with a trick? Did she say, "Hey, I got some people in line that we can get you started"? No, she just said, "Hey, you want some money?" Cause hold on, let's go to this. Before I get back, before I go too far. Okay, so how could y'all let this happen to my daughter? Basley asked. Do y'all not know what y'all did to my family? Basley is shocked because she said she asked CPS to temporarily take custody of her daughter to help with behavior issues like running away. So, let's say, quote, go back. Say, quote, "It shouldn't happen, especially by somebody that's supposed to protect them," end quote, Basley said. CPS said the employee was fired August 10th. Okay, so now, let's go back. So, number one, your daughter has problems, behavior problems at home. So you call CPS. So you could not control your child for whatever methods that you use. Your child cannot be controlled. Your 14-year-old you cannot control your 14-year-old. Now the question is always going to be, where's the dad? I mean, it could be anywhere. It could be, dead in jail or just out the child's life. Don't know. Don't know, but I know is, don't know, but you can pretty much assume that the father's not around. If that's so, where are the male? Are there any positive male role models in her life that could have been in her life, like a grandfather, an uncle, a brother, a cousin, a preacher, Boys and Girls Club, a mentor, somebody? But they ain't, well, she's too young to work. But if there are no males, there are no that you as a parent, single parent, cannot find any positive male role models because you need them for boys and girls. Contrary to popular belief, all these women, that they say they're promoting the single mother. They're promoting it like a badge of honor, being a single mother. And I don't knock single mothers, because my thing is this, sure. I had a conversation with somebody, single mother, before, not too long ago, and telling them my story, and I'm saying like things I don't want my kids to go through. I had a kid. I wasn't really young. I was like 18, 19 when my first child was born. And I try to tell my children, don't have kids too young. Did the whole go to school, get a job, be independent, which was somewhat wrong too. When at a young age, they find a nice young man, especially if you're going to college. That's a perfect place, to find a nice young man, or try to, that's trying to do something with his life, do something with your life, and y'all can kind of grow together. Stay out these streets, stay away from these thugs, this and the third. But anyway, that's another video for another story, another video. But I said what I didn't want for my kids. Okay, and it's like it kind of took it personal, but I was saying don't take what I'm saying personal, because because no, I'm not sitting there saying my kids are better than you or your kids, nothing like that. I'm telling you, me as a father, what I want my daughters to not go through. I don't care, you may have had a great life, that's fine, your kids may have had a great life, so you say, who knows, but to me, I don't want my kids to have children and they don't have, and they're not with the child's father. I want my kids like to, date, get engaged, getting married, let them live together for a few years, learn themselves, learn each other, and then but then after a couple of years, for you, travel the world, work, build this, a solid foundation for your kid, which is what you're supposed to do. Then you have babies, and you just pop them out as much as you can afford. I mean, that's just the way I say it's supposed to happen. A lot of us, including myself, did not do it that way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we just know we're young and we think we know better. If you don't agree with it, you don't agree with it. But again, my point is, like I said, I don't knock. I said my thing is we all make choices. And I said if I could go back and do it again, shoot, I wouldn't have my, looking at it now, I probably wouldn't have my first child until I was 30. You see what I'm saying? But then if I would have been living and waited till I was 30 to have them, I might have changed my mind and said, man, I would have had all my kids before I was 30, because now I said I want to have all my kids before I was 30, which is what I did. So, I mean, you never know, no grass is always green on the other side, but looking at life now, I said I would at least waited until I was more established before I had my first child. I mean, it's fair for me, and it's fair for the kids who did not ask to be here, did not ask to be, part of, the welfare system, parents catching the bus, parents driving raggedy cars, staying in apartments, all bills paid, electricity, heat don't work, the heat and air conditioning don't work when they need to, cats leaving bullets on my windshield when I see, like 45 shells, like slugs on my dang windshield when I leave for work in the morning, stuff like that. Kids didn't ask for that. You see what I'm saying? But again, so like I say, I'm not knocking anybody who's a single parent, anybody who's a young parent, because you make a choice. The thing is, what do you do once that choice is made? You don't sit there and say, oh, I don't have no regrets and I'll do it again. That's bullcrap. I wouldn't have done it again that way. Like I said, I would have done it differently. Still would have my kids. They would just been a little younger, and I would have been a little older when I had them. You see what I'm saying? So Yeah, you make choices and you say, okay, I don't want my kids to go through something I went to. But, so like I say, not knocking single parents at all. But once you make that choice, you got to find a ways to make that choice to, I don't want to say correct, but try to make it to where to get back in line the way it's supposed to be, which is hard, but you just have to. You just can't stay on the same morals, the same principles, the same foundation that you were at when you know what I'm saying, had the baby. You know what I'm saying, became a single parent, if it was voluntarily or not, you know, if it was because, you know, voluntary because, you know, you and the baby daddy couldn't get together, it was a one night stand or whatever the case may be. My point is, kids need a male, really a mother and father, but they need positive men and women role models they can see, period, boys and girls. So again, the child's 14, she having behavioral issues. You cannot control her, so if you for some reason thought that CPS could do a better job than you could, or a family member could, or putting a butt in some kind of program like a church program or some kind of camp or something, you send it to CPS. The one place that everybody knows is underfunded and understaffed, where you can read statistics now and say that on average a CPS worker would probably have 15 cases, but since the epidemic hit and all that, now they're sitting at like a minimum of 35 cases per worker. And like I was reading somewhere where it said like almost like 1,500 of them, of the like child protective investigators, like 1,500 of them I think have resigned within the past year in this state. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, because they're overworked, underpaid, don't have enough resources, and then dealing with these badass kids who are cursing, violent, because they're not being taken care of at home. And home is where it starts, right? So it goes back to, man, give your kids a foundation, a strong foundation to where they can be controlled and disciplined and become productive members of society as soon as possible. Because this right here, there's a lot of layers to this story that we're not seeing. A lot of layers. And I think we need to look at the backstory before we sit here and look at this, condemn this CPS worker who was probably just trying to strike a nerve. Period. Wasn't really, I don't think she was, my opinion, I don't think she was really telling this girl to go out here on the stroll. I think she was just trying to say, hey, you want some money? Get out here on these, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be home. You like to run away and everything, you know what I'm saying? Causing problems with your mama and, you know, stressing her out while she's probably going to work, trying to make a way for you. And this is how you repay her. And you expect, and you think she owe you something, you would disrespect, but you think I'm finna feed you? And you disrespecting your mama like that? Psh, you best better get out here and hit these streets. You know what I'm saying? Show a little leg, let this dude, you know, let one of these dudes pay you. So you can eat all day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what you're doing. I mean, it's basically what you're doing here. She probably, possibly she already done. Who knows? Because little kids that run away on a consistent basis, they running away to somebody. Most of the time, they probably run away to some boy. Or at that age, unfortunately, probably is a grown man who probably already gonna trying to groom her to put it on the streets anyway. But we ain't talking about that, right? I'm talking about the CPS work. But anyway, let's get back to the story. In written statements, a spokesperson for the Houston region said, the safety and appropriateness with which children in care must be treated is our paramount concern. Nothing less will be tolerated. That's a lie, because again, from what I'm hearing, all the red tape and all the bullcorn they got to go through to even be able to see and care for these kids, it's almost hard for them to do their jobs correctly. But anyway, every employee who supervises youth awaiting placement undergoes training on safety, understanding trauma, and reviews information on the specific need of each child they are supervising. I wonder how much training do they really get? Do they get years of training like they really should? Or maybe it's weeks and months, which ain't long enough to train anybody when you're dealing with people's lives in and like different personalities, man. It ain't easy. They say employees are required to complete 2 training courses before supervising youth, as well as reviewing information on each child they are supervising prior to caring for them. The training is the same for all employees. I'm not aware of any staffing issues related to this incident, end quote. It says it's not clear if this incident is someone who was insuring employees. It's not clear in this incident, if someone was assuring employees follow protocol. Quote, Keisha tells me through her daughter that she believes that the other kids in the hotel with her daughter were exposed to the exact same type of solicitation. Mike Schneider, Blaz's lawyer, said. So you got a lawyer. Schneider feels there are systemic issues putting the kids in unsafe situations. This haunts me every day, Baisley said. I don't want to see anything like this happen to no other kid. The Texas Department of Family and Protective Services is still in the thick of a federal investigation, accused of putting kids in unsafe circumstances leading to their abuse, neglect, or even death in some cases. The Baisley family wants more accountability, so she got a family. Really. Not just the mom, so not the whole family want to say something. But like I said, the CPS, man, it's we already know, like I said, it's underfunded. They say understaffed. Even like this story here from the same KXA in Austin. One of the guys said, I couldn't morally continue. CPS caseworkers quit due to state's transgender directive. We're not getting transgender part. What I'm trying to get to is right here. Davis said, it's a guy named Davis. He says in Travis County, supervisors have been uniquely empathetic, but still turnover is incredibly high, he said. Caseworkers usually have roughly 15 cases to manage, but now face 35 to 45 cases at a time, a product of understaffing and juggling state directives, Davis says. So there's a lot of issues going on, and I think it's, blaming this CPS worker and firing her is a way to, it's like a smoke and mirrors type thing, because they got to hurry and put the blame and kill this story immediately before the negative stuff about the whole CPS and Child Protective Services, the whole organization, saying is being put into question. So they're gonna say, hey, the staff member was wrong. We trained them, certain ways, or they go through this course, that course, and what she did was wrong, so we fired her, in the story. But that's really not the end of the story. You got a lot of kids out there who are in trouble, wayward children, as we used to say the old people used to say back in the day, that need help. CPS are not equipped to handle all these children. We got to fix the situation at home. We got to do better for our kids. Seriously, we got to give them a chance to fight, to survive. As I said in other videos, this country, they're already trying to, price people out of living in this country. I believe that they're working to only create 2 classes, the rich and the poor. That's the only way I could think of why things are going the way it's going when it comes to like unemployment, homelessness, the rise in all these prices like skyrocketing, and nothing is being done, and pay is not going up to balance out the inflation. They want to blame millennials, not millennials, what's these Gen X, what's the youngins, it's the millennials they're trying to blame, saying that they're all saving money, not buying nothing, so it's messing up the economy. Uncle Sam gave you checks all last year because of the pandemic, and now the government want their money back. Period. They want their money back, and they're gonna get it back one way or another. You want to save it, we're gonna make you spend it. But again, what they're doing is they're gonna force you to do one thing and one thing only, and that's prioritize family. That's prioritize, prioritize family. Man and woman and children. Parents, grandparents, people, the becoming a community again like it used to be, and like it still is some places, but not being promoted as much as it should be. They are forcing people. They're going to force you to be able to survive and to be as content and happy in this country. They're going to force you to put family first. Shouldn't have to force you to do that. Should be the number one thing, but it's going to make you think twice, because I saw an article where it says that married people on tax breaks are like probably 9 times richer than single folks because of all the tax breaks that married people get. It's still kind of messed up that gotta have most places, if you want to live comfortable in a nice place, unless you got a hellified job where you're making high 6 figures easy, that both parents have to work in order for you to be able to sustain a certain lifestyle. Unless you got some kind of financial things that are set in place already, but what I'm saying, like on the average, that most parents have to work, and it's just the mother can't stay home and nurture the children like back in the day. But again, therefore you're gonna have to. It shouldn't take the government in their diabolical ways to make you understand the importance of family. And stories like this, is just another example of why, family is important. The mistakes we made, the choices we made, man, we can't sit there and say it's a great thing. I'm sorry. When women talk about, they independent, single parent, did it all on their own, and they proud of it. Don't be. Single dads either. Don't be. I mean, you could be proud. Don't be proud of something that you're supposed to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? You can say, I'm proud I survived. Made choices, things, stuff was thrown at me with life choices that I made, and I survived. I'm proud that I survived. I'm able to make it through. Did the best I could, you know what I'm saying? And my kids are doing good, this and the third. Or tried my best, even tried to, made it, went a certain way and tried to carry it back this way. And every time I tried to carry it back, kept getting bumped. So I kept trying. But, I mean, you can be proud, like I say, of survival, but being proud of doing what you're supposed to do, you know what I'm saying? Want accolades for being a dad or accolades for being a mom? I mean, to me, that's par for the course of what you're supposed to be. But like I said, we got to get back, to the whole family thing. Tell me what you think about the story. Oh, what I was saying about the child is, street savvy. She's 14 years old. What the mom said in the video is, she had a behavioral problem, like running away. So it means she probably done it more than once, or a few times. So the child, probably recorded the CPS. That's why I say she was street savvy. So she probably recorded the CPS lady trying to get her off her case. My thing is, what the heck is why is all these kids living in a hotel? Why is because a lot of these foster care places, or these places where they house it, when CPS take the kids, a lot of them shut down because of staffing issues and financing. So they have nowhere for these kids. So you're talking about hundreds, maybe even thousands of beds that are no longer available for these children. So what they got to do, they got to house them in the hotels, and there you go. There's some of your funding going to hotel rooms to house these kids. So you can't hire enough people, and your staffing, so you don't have enough staffing. So now everybody's stressed out and overworked. So again, let's start at the home. Let's get the home right. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, that's all I got. Tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comment below, and then share it with the world. Like I say, follow. If you ain't already following, follow this channel. I appreciate everybody for watching. I appreciate people that comment. You know what I'm saying? Right now, you at the ground floor, so it's like if you leave a comment, it's a good chance we can have a dialogue going back and forth. On what I say and what you feel, which is good. Keep everything cordial and cool like that. But anyway, with that being said, I leave you in peace, and I'll see you on.